think I'm muted. There we go. My name is Frances, and I'm a trusted senior travel advisor here at Stewart Travel Group. And I'm really excited today that we're going to talk about the Camino de Santiago and our trip in October. So I know there's a few of you that are on that have already signed up and are ready to come with us. And there's a few of you that are really interested in joining us on this tour. And so we will tell you all about it. We'll talk a little bit about preparation and all the things you can pack and those kinds of things as well. So you can really get a sense of whether this is a trip for you. Let me just move my slide forward and tell you a little bit about Stewart Travel Group to start. So Stewart Travel Group is a small boutique travel agency that is based in Charlottetown, PEI. We have agents across the Maritimes in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island, of course, as well as an agent in Quebec and an agent in Germany. We also have been working on, or we work on group tours. That's really our niche, is hosted group tours. But we also do lots of individual travel planning. And so, for example, we can help you with your pre or post for this trip, or we can help you with any other vacation you'd like. And we do have specialists in all sorts of areas, Europe and Disney and adventure travel and those kinds of things. So that's who we are. We've been around. We celebrated our 10th anniversary in 2024. So that was exciting. So now I'm going to bring to the stage Wendy, and Wendy and I are your two hosts for this trip. So wanted to tell you a little bit about us, because this isn't your typical hosted group tour where we have a tour guide and we're sort of hosted along the way. This is a really special tour. So I have a number of years of experience of hosting backcountry trips, whether it's hiking or paddling in particular, in remote areas around Canada, Northern Ontario, Northern Canada, Nunavut, the Yukon, NWT, Alberta. And so I've done a fair bit of this with all sorts of travelers, ranging from teens to adults, and it's really been a part of who I've become. I've also been with PEI Ground Search and Rescue for 10 years. I'm a wilderness first aid instructor, and have hosted many other trips with Stewart Travel Group. I'm actually going again next week. Wendy is fantastic. She is my travel operations coordinator, and we've been working together for over 2 years. And she has also hosted one of our Stewart Travel Group trips, co-hosted a trip to Thailand a few years ago. And last year, she did 300 kilometers of the coastal route, the Camino Portuguese, from Porto to Santiago, and she did that solo. It was a little bit different than this one in that she had everything on her back and she just hiked as she planned along the way. So there's no luggage transfer or anything like that. So she accomplished a really amazing feat. And so welcome, Wendy.
Oh, thank you.
And Wendy's going to join us if we have 14 confirmed travelers on this trip, and we're at 8 right now. So hopefully we get a few more folks to join us, and we really, really are excited about that. Next, I'm going to introduce Martha. Martha is an amazing partner and friend, dear friend that I've known for nearly 10 years as well. Martha's from Venezuela and works with Gateways International, which is a Canadian company based in Toronto. And Martha has worked with us on a countless number of trips. And the service that we get from Gateways International is fantastic. One example, I had clients in Italy. There was a small hiccup when they checked in. Martha found out about it, called me, and I knew about it before my clients even left the front desk. And I was able to resolve that issue through Gateways International, and everything was seamless. And every trip we've done with Gateways has been absolutely seamless, and I know this one will be as well. So really thrilled to welcome Martha. So the presentation we're going to do is going to be co-presented by Martha and Wendy, who have more experience on the Camino. Both of them have done parts of the Camino de Santiago. And then I'll hop back on at the end and we'll do questions. So if you have questions during the presentation, there is a comment box on YouTube and below on Facebook. And you can absolutely put your questions there and we'll come back to them at the end. So don't wait, just stick them there while you're thinking of them. And we're going to get started. So I'll turn it over to Martha. Go ahead.
For my radio hostess voice. This is not normal, but last night I have a big party. It was my birthday. Went to bed at 3:30 in the morning. I don't know when was the last time that I did that. So as you can see, besides singing and drinking, you can feel it. So I'm so sorry. And on top of that, of my beautiful voice, as you can hear my great accent, so don't worry about Wendy and Francis will save you guys if in case, unfortunately, I didn't bring my closed caption today. So anyway, Francis, thank you very much for that introduction. You know, it's true. We have been working in many, many groups with you guys. In Gateways International is 100% Canadian company. We have been around for 40 years, so probably not many of you are familiar with the company. But if you are Stewart Travel passengers and you go to those great events that they prepare during the summer, for sure you have seen me there. So hello to everybody. Why the Camino? The Camino, it's an area that had been around for the longest time. However, had become very, very, very popular in the past 4 years, 5 years. It's an experience. What I'm trying to say with this is that even though you're going to go with a small group of people, the Camino is a spiritual journey, and it's important for you to understand that. And Wendy, for sure, later on will speak a little bit about her great experience. So what is the Camino? It have definitely the St. James Way. That's one of the places, one of the first places in Europe where the Christian faith start developing. Okay. They are to do the Camino, to do the whole Camino. Oh my God, you're going to be needing about 3 or 4 months. There are many Caminos. When they did the Portugal way, we are doing part of the French way because the French start in France and you go through the Pyrenees. I said it in Spanish, Pyrenees. It's Pyrenees. So you're going to be doing the last 100 kilometers of the French way. There are over 12 different caminos in case the people say to you, well, which one you're doing. That's why I'm giving you a little bit more of that kind of information. Definitely the location, we're going to start in Sarria, and at the end, which is Santiago de Compostela, is located in the province of Galicia in Spain, and is in the northwestern part of the country. You can see in there some great pictures on the right side, which are the symbols of the Camino. Okay. I'm sure that you're going to go and you're going to say, I have to bring one of those pictures for me and for whoever you love. And that is the beauty about, because people say, oh my God, how is the signage along the way? Where you see that, trust me, you're not going to get lost. Plus all the friends that are going to be with you. Oh, people that you're going to meet along the way. Try not to forget the people that's going with you in the group. But if you find more chemistry with other people, by all means, feel free and go with them. It's great. The interaction, you're going to find people from everywhere coming, walking the Camino at the same time that you're doing. Okay. There, you can read in there the meaning of the shell. It is the spirituality involved in that. It's saying that, of course, promote the relaxation, etc., etc. Um, and the Larimar, it's a stone, it's a blue stone, which is also in the stone's vocabulary. It says that it's a relaxing, it gives you relaxing energy, divine energy, etc., etc. Let me go. Where is the next one? Here. That's the route that we're going to be taking. And when you see the map, we're going to start from the town of Sarria. Okay. And from there, definitely all the way to Santiago de Compostela. This route cover a total of 113 kilometers. Okay. And it depends how fast or how slow, whatever pace you want to have, is estimated around the 30 hours total during your 7 days in there. So it shows also the elevation in there, which is great. And we're going to be talking later on about what to wear, like Francis was explaining to you. We are doing the Camino. Now, you probably, if you have traveled with Stuart Travel before, you probably are saying to yourself, how come they don't have a pre-program? And it's exactly because Camino is different. People have different things that appeal to them. So we left that part open for you to decide if you want to have couple of days in Madrid before, which, by the way, is one of my favorite cities in the whole world. But so if in your mind you say, you know what, I am already paying for the airfare, I am already there, why not to give myself the chance of seeing a little bit more about Spain, especially their capital? So you arrive in Madrid, that's part of the program. And from there, you have to find the way to Sarria, which, let me go. Why this is normal? Okay. Why is moving to the other side? Francis, will you help me? Thank you. So you will travel from Madrid to Sarria. Our recommendation on this one is definitely do it on the train. If any of you have been in Europe, you know how great the train system works in Europe. I personally, if I go to Europe, I'd really like to do the trains. They are a little bit more comfortable. You have your suitcase with you. You don't have to go through the hassle of, the airport, et cetera, et cetera. And to be honest, if I'm going to be completely honest, the way by car, the driving from Madrid to Sarria is not an spectacular one. Like I have to be honest. It's not like when you're going to Salamanca or you're going to Segovia or you're going to other cities which you're going to see a lot of nature, and I believe that probably you are going to have more than enough nature during your journey in the Camino. So that it's in there, and that's the best way for you to get to Sarria. Okay. So the Camino Frances, as I say to you, we started there. The distance from Santiago to Santiago is a little bit over 100 kilometers. However, one thing is that in order for you to get the certificate that you did the Camino, you have to do a minimum of 100 kilometers. Okay? So I have some people that say, you know what? I couldn't care less about the certificate, but I want to do the Camino for 1 or 2 days. Here is the whole journey. Okay. We try to find what the very best one is. And the French way is definitely the most visit of the Camino, of the different routes in the Camino. Okay. So thank you. So from Sarria, we're going to go first to a small town called Puerto Marin. The distance that you are going to be doing that day, as very well saying there, is 22 kilometers. You're going to be going through bridges. You're going to spot a lot of very small town with some Galician traditional pajorrios, which is um, what is its name in English? Um, okay, I made. Oh, it's in there, like a granaries. Thank you. Um, and there are so many. It's so much beautiful architecture in there. That is the first. Your very first day is 22 kilometers. The second day also you're going to have a 22 kilometers. You're going to be crossing small little rivers in there. You're going to be passing by some amazing, again, architecture that are probably we in North America, we never heard about. But for the region are kind of important and it's a must stop that you have a, even if it's just to take a picture. It's absolutely amazing. So you will overnight in that night in Palais de Rey. On the third day, I'm so sorry. We're not going to be giving you a hard time this day. You're going to be doing only 14 kilometers and you're going to get earlier to your hotel and you're going to relax in there. Please, if you have a paper and a pen, sit and sip Alvarinho wine. It's a white wine. It's made in Galicia. There is very few places in here. Well, you guys, what's the name in PEI, Francis, for the liquor store?
The PEI Liquor Commission.
Okay, thank you. You sometimes you get in there a lot better stuff than what we get in Ontario. Let me tell you. But it's called Albarino. Um, and it's absolutely amazing wine. Very hardly you're going to find it here in Canada. For those of you who drink red like me, it's still very good. Going with the house wine is fantastic. So after your 14 kilometers, because by now you're a pro, you have already 22 kilometers the first day, 22 kilometers the second day. So you're going to be doing those 14 kilometers like a Speedy Gonzalez. And you're going to get there, you're going to relax. Now, in this place, if all of you enjoy seafood, and I'm not from Spain, I'm from Venezuela already, Francis already told you that. They have a phenomenal octopus. Wendy had it, and she was like in love with it here.
In
So,
I had it in paella too.
oh, well, there you go. But they are called the restaurants that are they specialized are called pulperias. Why pulperias? Because the name of octopus in Spanish is pulpo. Like you remember that movie Pulp Fiction? Well, you add a O to the pulp. Say Pulpo, pulpo. Remember that? So you get there, you get to the pulperias, and you say, I want my grilled pulpo. You're going to have the time of your life. It's phenomenal, especially in Rey de Melide, all over Galicia, but in this town, they specialize really in this. On day 4, from Rey Melide, we are going to a little town called Arzua. Um, you're going to be seeing a little bit of the same small communities. Um, and I know that you're wondering, well, when are you going to talk about the road? We will, don't worry. But we wanted to go on the day by day. Um, in probably some of you are going to say, why there are so many churches? It's the Camino de Santiago. It's the San James Way. Let's not forget that um, countries like Spain, like Italy, like Portugal, um, their Christian faith is quite strong. So it doesn't matter if you're passing by a little community of 100 people or 50 people. They have all their own little chapel. And they're absolutely charming. Do you have to go? No, if you don't want. But it's something that you're going to be seeing pretty often, like probably every 3-4 kilometers, you're going to see the reflection of one of the chapels. So on day 5, we're going to another place called Amenal. That's where you're going to be overnighting in here. Another chapel for you to visit, which is Santa Irene. And the road in here is is a little bit um, easier, if we can set it in that way, simply because they're a lot wider. You're going to enjoy the nature. There are some forests that are absolutely unbelievable, beautiful. Um, you, sorry, 23 kilometers, but you are, by now you're professionals, right? But it's 23 kilometers. And it's, remember that you're with your own journey. And some people say, oh my God, 23 kilometers. You're going to be in your own little world, enjoying what you're seeing, that you're not going to really feel it. And we are not here looking after a championship or get a trophy or nothing like that. So you are on your own pace, and nobody is to dictate, okay, we have to be here. No, 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 no. You just take it easy. You just sit whenever you want to sit. You take 500 pictures in here and another 1,000 in the other side. This is your journey. So, and you always have to keep this in mind. Okay, so we are not in the Olympic Games in here. So you just take it as you feel it. On day 6, it's what the end of the journey pretty much represent is the arrival in Santiago de Compostela. From a spiritual, from a Christian point of view, or a Christian fact, sorry, there are 3 places in the world. And the very first one is definitely Israel. The second one is the Vatican. And the third one is Santiago de Compostela for the Christian faith. So if you have a deep faith, it's just going to be definitely an important city for you to visit. When you get to Santiago, you're going to be seeing an absolutely beautiful basilica. Right next to it is the famous Parador. In Spain, that certain kind of hotels, they call it Paradores. And this is the first hotel, the oldest hotel in Europe. It's a Parador de los Reyes. It used to be one of the castles for the monarchy in Spain. Right now, it's a 5+ star hotel. However, they still have that tradition with them, and when the pilgrimage are arriving there very early in the morning, because that's what a lot of the pilgrims wants to do. They want to get there at 5 o'clock in the morning. The hotel gives to the first, I'm not sure if it's the first 50 or 100 the breakfast. And these are backpacker, you're going with your hotel and you're going, somebody else is going to be carrying the luggage for you. So, you know what I mean? Um, but it's absolutely beautiful. I definitely will recommend you when you finish with your, and if you have 10, 15 minutes, just walking to the hotel because it's absolutely beautiful. But when I finish with the presentation, I'm going to give you other two tips for you to do it on your own if you feel like it. So in here, we're going to be from Amenal to Santiago. We're going to be doing 17 kilometers. There is a moment where when in Santiago, when you go into the city, then you're going to find a little hills here and there, nothing major, okay? But it's an absolutely beautiful place. Santiago is an absolutely gorgeous city. Very nice people, very good food. Don't think that I am an alcoholic, but very good wine as well. You're in Spain at the end of the day. And what we're doing, we're all doing activities, but at the same time, we're giving you free time because each of you is different, have different tastes, and you want different things. Okay. So on day 7, you're going to overnight, definitely in Santiago. In Santiago, you're going to stay for 2 nights. Okay. Um, I'm going to let later Wendy to explain a little bit about the stamps. Wendy, do you mind doing that part? Um, Santiago is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's gorgeous. It honestly is a gorgeous city, and I will ask you to walk around. It's safe to walk around. Doesn't matter what time of the day. It's a very safe city. Um, the history that you're going to find in here, it's is closer to none. It's just beautiful. And history in every single level. History about Spain, history about the different conquistas that happen in there, history, of course, on St. James. Uh, but it's a picturesque city and it's very, very safe. Okay, so you're going to spend 2 nights in there. And you're going to get your certificate of the Compostela. So again, when you finish in here, because if I understand you correctly, Francis, it was people who were asking to probably go for a couple of days to Porto and a couple of days to Lisbon. And that's the beauty about, and that's why when Francis and I sat for this, we agree that leaving the space open for you, we all might be Canadian, but we have different tastes. And I always say it like, if I follow what one of my brothers says, oh my God, it will be a disaster. We have a complete different taste in almost everything. So we didn't want to force you to follow a main program when you probably are appeal to other things. So at the end, definitely you just get exactly what you would like to experience. And Francis and the Stewart Travel Group staff definitely will put for you Porto, Lisbon, Madrid. Funny enough, um, should I leave you, Francis, to talk about what we were talking on Friday and you
Well, I
surprised
think
it?
I don't know. Like, I think one of the things that Martha and Wendy and I were talking about the other day was, all of us have to get from Santiago de Compostela to somewhere with an airport, Porto being the closest. And so we've come up with kind of a really special way to end the trip that still reflects the Camino, but allows us to spend that last day traveling. So the flights out of Porto are at 6 a.m. So that means we will have to get to Porto and overnight. So instead of just traveling, getting on the bus and going, we thought we would look at a private transfer that would take us from Santiago to Porto and stopping in a town called, remind me, Porto Verde?
Pontevedra.
Pontevedra. I knew I had the N's and the R's mixed up. And so both Martha and Wendy have been to this beautiful town, and nearby, there's an amazing seafood world that we can have for lunch. Not that we'll go to a seafood world for lunch, but there is a lot of seafood in this area. And so we will be able to experience that at lunch and spend 3 or 4 hours in this beautiful little town before we continue on to Porto. So that's not included currently. So if you don't want to do that, you can hop the train or the bus and go. I guess it's a bus. But we're thinking about that as a way to wrap up our trip. And so we'll be sending out a note to everybody in the next week or so about that as an option for those of you who have booked. And then, what we were also thinking is once you're in Porto, you might as well stay in Porto for a couple of days and really experience the incredible city. And that's the photo on the top left there. And then we were like, well, if you just get the train to Lisbon and spend a couple of days, you've got a direct flight back to Canada rather than flying from Porto to Lisbon back to Canada. So we're thinking about that as a way to end the trip if you would like to. It's definitely optional. But if those of you who are on this call who would like to, or this presentation who have booked, if you like the sound of that, let me know. And if you're interested in booking with us and you like the sound of that, let me know as well. And we'll make that accommodation as we go. But we really think that would be a special end. And Wendy told me about an incredible little church in Pontevedra that is shaped like the scallop shell of the Camino. So that's where where we'll be able to visit. So that's what we're thinking.
Sorry, Francis, the other thing that we're talking about that, now that we are being open, let's be completely honest, is the fact that one of the most important seafood festivals, it happened in this town. And it's happening when you finish the Camino. So being Porto and Lisbon an option, why not to experience something completely different, related a little bit to St. James because of this small church. But also, come on, guys, you have the very best seafood in Canada. Like, I'm from Venezuela. I suffer because here in Ontario, I just eat frozen fish.
We've got some folks.
And I'm sure that 99% of you enjoy your seafood. So I was in this festival a few years back. Of course, I almost got sick because when I start eating what I love, I don't have to tell you. But it's such a coincidence that is happening at the end of your journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I say to the girls, I say, that's a sign that you should go there.
Yeah.
And of course, Wendy have been there. Frances, well, you don't have to worry because Frances is open like when you say let's, and she finished, let's go. So she's ready for anything that is in there. But we will present 2 or 3 different things. Frances and Wendy will forward those to you. And then from there, you decide, yeah, I am for this, or I'm not, or I'm going to get a fly to Frankfurt because I'm going to visit my cousins. I don't know. You may have other plans. Frances, all yours, because
you're sneezing. So we're going to talk a little bit while Martha gets her voice back about the accommodations.
Yes.
And so I wanted to share some photos of the accommodations, which are very clean and really nice. But we're not going for a 5-star experience, and there isn't a 5-star experience. This is a pilgrimage. This is an experience that you will have. But all of the places we go and we will be staying, and all of these are subject to change until we check in. Imagine if there was some sort of flood or something at a hotel, we can't guarantee it until we get there. but certainly it would be this type of accommodation or better. Most of you are sharing a room. And so double beds are there. And we will also have a private bathroom in each room. So it's not a communal or shared bathroom, which is something that's important to a lot of people. So these are the hotels that we'll be staying in all the way along. Martha, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, what I want to add is that because of the kind of journey that you're doing
Mhm.
through the whole Camino, these are the type of hotels that you're going to find. Okay,
Absolutely.
it's you're not going to find a Marriott or I don't know, a Virtuoso or whatever. These type of five-star hotels. So because these communities, these little towns, they live out pretty much of the pilgrimage or the people that are doing the Camino. Okay, so they're very basic. However, they're very clean. Like Francis say very well, they have private washrooms because there are other properties which are called hostales, where you may have to share the washroom with other people or just wait online. And that's not the type of tours that we Gateway sell, and that Store Travel will not sell something
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
that on a group basis. We need to keep the Canadian standards, even to minimum.
Mhm.
And the bathroom, it's a very important um, things to have on a private basis.
Mhm.
So this is your typical day. Um, uh, Depending on who you read, they're going to say, "Oh, wake up so early and go." No, my opinion, no. I think that by leaving at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, again, it's your own journey. If you want to start walking at 5 o'clock in the morning, we're not going to stop you of doing that. But at the end of the day, remember that you are walking certainly amount of kilometers, which your body need that rest, number one. Number two, you probably want to be early, so go with the group of people that you're coming with, but at the same time, you know, you don't need to wake up the rooster,
Mhm.
really. You don't want to become the rooster in that little town. So 8 o'clock, 8:30, I think that is plenty. You can have your good breakfast. Um, you can get ready, have your luggage in there. Your luggage is going to be transferred, and those are things that are important. Okay. Um, um, you know what, Wendy? Why don't you help me with this one because you did it recently, and you can talk out of your own experience. And
Sure, absolutely. My typical day, I would typically leave about 7 or 7:30 in the morning, and I actually got into a little routine where I would have my breakfast before I left my hostel or hotel, wherever I was staying, and away I would go, and then I would stop for my coffee break about an hour and a half to 2 hours in because I found that the places weren't as crowded as they were later in the morning when people typically stop 2 or 3 hours in. So it's all personal preference, I guess. The nice thing about leaving at 7:30, 8 in the morning is I didn't feel rushed. I could take all kinds of pictures. I got to chat with people along the way. I got to just do it my way, right? And lunchtime, I would typically have that about 12, 1 o'clock. Sometimes I would even push it until 2 because they have siesta later in the afternoon. So sometimes when you come into your town at, say, 3 or 4 o'clock, a lot of places are typically closed. So I would make sure to have a good lunch. And then if I got into the village and things were still closed, I wasn't starving and looking for something to eat. And it gave me time to do any laundry or just, any little things in preparation for the next day. Sometimes I would go into the village, get some snacks at the grocery store for the next day. And then once the restaurants started to open back up again after siesta, then you can go for a nice bite. And then you're back in your room by, 8:30, 9 o'clock to get ready for your next morning.
Can you talk about the stamps a little bit too? So how do you find stamps and how often do you need them during the day? How does that work?
Oh, absolutely. So where we're walking the last 100 kilometers, they do have a requirement for the last 100 kilometers of your journey that you need to have 2 stamps per day versus 1 stamp per day. And a lot of the cafes, all of the hotels, I'm sure that we'll be staying, will all have them. Plus, there's all the chapels. There's usually somebody in a chapel at the front that has stamps for the different chapels. And then you're going to meet different vendors along the way. And some of these are just people that set up in the morning and then leave again later in the afternoon. And they have stamps that you can literally collect in the middle of the woods on the trail.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so those are easy to find as we go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of places, they will, like the cafes and stuff, they'll have them on a counter, usually away from the cash, so that people can go and do it themselves. If you don't see it, ask. They're so happy to help you. I mean, this is their livelihood. And not only that, but they're very, very proud of the trail too.
Yeah.
So there's great pride in the trail, and they're so happy to help you out.
So do you want to talk a little bit about what we should pack and what you wore when you were on the trail?
Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna go with the very most important thing. And if you don't hear anything else today, I'm going to talk about footwear. And it is so important. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to have a reliable pair of sneakers that you have broken in. And I mean, if you're thinking of getting new sneakers, get them now so that you have the summer to walk in them. And if they don't work out, you'll have time to find another pair. But if your feet aren't happy feet at the end of the day, this is going to be the most miserable vacation for you. So it is so important to make sure that you have comfortable footwear. And if I can go a step further, I know a lot of people think that hiking boots or hiking shoes might be the way to go for this Camino. And I just want to point out that that's totally your decision. And if they're comfortable and they work for you, that's great. But a lot of hiking boots and hiking shoes are water resistant or waterproof. And while that's great for hikes, if we're on a walk and your feet get soaked that day, it takes forever for these water resistant and waterproof boots to dry out, and your shoes are just going to stay wet for days. And what I had was like what they call a trail runner, and it had a wide toe box on it so that when your feet and stuff tend to swell at the end of the day, there was still lots of room in my shoe so that my feet weren't getting cramped and whatnot. And not only that, they were nylon as well too, so they dried very quickly and they worked for me. Like that was the best decision I made, was just to have nylon footwear that dried really quickly.
That's great. And hiking, any backcountry travel, hiking, paddling, anything like that, quick dry clothing, no cotton. In search and rescue, we always say cotton kills, because the people who have hypothermia are always wearing cotton. And you'd think, well, can I get hypothermia at 10 degrees or 15 degrees in the morning? You absolutely can. So we talk about lightweight and breathable clothing. And no jeans unless you're bringing them for, after the fact. But remember that this is going to be quite warm. It'll be, an average of 20 degrees, maybe a little cooler. 15 to 20 is probably what we're going to see, maybe with a few days of rain. So sun protection and lots of water. And Wendy, you were talking the other day about a hydration bladder versus a water bottle. And can you explain why that's important? And I would fully agree with what you're about to say.
Sure, absolutely. A lot of people tend to just automatically think like a water bottle or a canteen, and they stick it in their backpack, which again, if that works for you, is totally fine. But what can happen, and it happens with me personally, is I get going, I see the sights, I'm talking to the people, you want to maybe catch up with somebody or whatever. I am the worst for stopping in the middle of the day and taking off my backpack because I can't reach my water bottle or whatever. Just stop and then, hydrate and then continue on. So I had a bladder that was in my backpack, which is actually in that picture right there at the very top. And with the hydration bladder, I had it just right here on my shoulder, and all I could do is just sip and away I go, and I didn't have to stop or worry about it. And it's super important to stay hydrated on the trail too, because you don't want muscle cramps or anything like that at the end of the day too. And while you think that, oh, I don't need a drink right now, when you're constantly walking and sweating and whatever, you lose water, and you need to make sure that you hydrate even when you don't think that you need to.
Can you talk about two other things? One is pretty common, a buff, and the other one is a little less expected, which is your pea cloth.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll start with a buff first. And yes, it's good as a headband, but I also wore it as a hat in the mornings because it can be chilly in the mornings. And that's another thing to think of when you're thinking of packing in layers is, while it might be 20 degrees at noontime, when we start at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, it's pretty chilly sometimes in the morning, and it takes a while to warm up. So the buff was good as a hat. It's good, of course, as a headband or to keep your hair out of your face or whatnot. But it's also good as a cooling towel in the sense that you can wet your buff with your water and then just wear it around your neck to cool like the back of your neck and whatnot and keep your temperature down too. So with the pea cloth, this is one of the things about the trail that annoys everybody. And that is, there's some places where you're in nature and nature calls and there's no washroom readily accessible. And a lot of people do go on the side of the trail, which is fine, but a lot of people tend to use toilet paper, and then you're seeing that on the trail, and nobody wants to see that on the trail. So an alternative, they're pea cloths. I found them on Amazon, and they're antibacterial, all the things. And actually they dry really quick. They have a little snap on them. You can use that if you need to go, if nature calls on the trail, and you can just snap it to the back of your backpack, and it dries super quick. And the UV from the sun actually helps deal with the germs and all the nasty stuff. And you just wash it at the end of the day when you're done, and it dries super quick and it's ready to go again the next day. Another thing to think about for the ladies is you can also use period panties too. Just to help with that little bit of extra, protection and confidence and whatnot. That's another thing that you can use too. So
awesome. Thanks. Who knew you would be on here talking about pea cloths?
Pea cloths.
Right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to prepare. And I know many of you who are coming have lots of experience with this, but preparing for the Camino is important. And starting now or soon is also very important. This morning I was mapping out, 5, 10, and 15 kilometer loops around the city. Charlottetown's so small that it's actually hard to get those distances in. So anyway, I was figuring that out this morning for me. But regular walks and hiking, doing the activity that you will be doing. Also alternate training like cycling and those kinds of things just to get your cardiovascular system working. Really encourage you to wear your pack while you are while you are walking that'll ensure you're comfortable with your pack, you know how it all works, it fits properly, and you can add weight as you get stronger and gradually build your time and distance. The other thing that we really recommend is incorporating some ascents and descents to make sure you're comfortable with that. Your knees will thank you. We already talked about your shoes, but strength is just as important as cardiovascular health when it comes to hiking. We will give you some tips and tricks about downhills and uphills. There's actually some physical ways that you can walk that make those easier. But really what's important is that this isn't a marathon. It's for, it's a journey where you take your own time and go at your own pace.
And I know too that a lot of people, you might see a couple of those days with the 22 kilometers, and it feels a little intimidating at first, but I just want you to realize, as Frances said, it's not a race, and that your day is dictated by you, and you can go and without stopping, you can burn through all the towns, get to where you want to be at 11 o'clock in the morning, or you can stop and take pictures. I mean, I would have my breakfast in the morning, and then I was stopping for second breakfast 2 hours later. And then I was stopping for lunch 2 hours after that. And I was stopping to take pictures, and I was stopping to go into chapels. It's not straight walking. And another thing to think about too is if you've ever been with your family to, Disney World or large amusement parks or stuff like that, I'm sure if you had your pedometer on, you would be shocked at how much you walk in those parks during the run of the day.
You can easily do 20,000 steps.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great points. There's a couple of links here that I found that are also really helpful about that. So we'll talk about flights. So we're recommending flying into Madrid and out of Porto or Lisbon. If you fly out of Porto, you fly to Lisbon before you go to Toronto, unfortunately. But when I looked, flights were about $1,600 economy. On this trip, often we will host or escort the flights, but on this trip, I will already be in Europe. I will be in Ireland just before we go. And so these flights won't be hosted. You will meet us either in Madrid or Sarria, and we'll work with you to figure out where we will meet you at that time. And we will be able to help you book flights, or you can book them on your own if you have points or you just prefer to do it on your own as well. So this is just an estimate that I got last week on pricing. Obviously, it's subject to change. It's worth getting your flights booked sooner rather than later. The earlier you book, the better the price is the way flights are these days. So we really have 3 rooms remaining, and we're super excited about that. The price per person is $2,590, and that includes 8 nights of accommodation. So your starting accommodation in Sarria, your 2 nights in Santiago, and then the nights in between. You have breakfast every day, and while you're on the trail, dinner is provided every night, which is nice. It also includes luggage transfer of 1 20-kilo bag. So your street clothes, an extra pair of shoes if you want, the things you don't need during the day, your pajamas, whatever, that can all be transferred. And sorry about that yellow, I forgot to change that. It's actually, we will be getting a transfer from the Sarria train station. We don't need a question mark there, to our hotel in Sarria. And that's if we all arrive at the same time. If you arrive outside of that time, then you'll make your own way. But Sarria is a tiny little town. It's not going to be a big issue for you to get to your hotel. We will also be providing everyone with a small little kit that includes your Canadian Company of Pilgrims credential and your badge that you can put on your pack. What's not included is round-trip flights, train transportation, or any transportation from Madrid to Sarria and from Santiago de Compostela to wherever you decide to go. There's also a daily hotel tax, gratuities for drivers, that kind of thing, housekeepers, and your travel insurance, which is probably one of the most important things that you need on this journey, and then anything that's not mentioned in the program. So to book, you go on the website, and I'll share the link with you in a moment. The deposit is $750 per person, and that's non-refundable. And then your final payment is due in June, and that's also non-refundable. So only 3 rooms remaining, and we really think this is going to be an incredible journey. So I'm going to open it up now to questions. And I know the broadcast is about 10 or 15 seconds behind us talking. So maybe while we're waiting for questions to come in, Wendy, can you tell us your favorite moment on the Camino? And I didn't prepare you for this, so now I know it's a lot of, and I'm going to ask you the same question, Martha.
Oh boy. It was a bunch of little things.
Yeah.
It wasn't big things. It was hearing the roosters first thing every morning as you start your walk. It's smelling the charcoal coming from the kitchens of the houses that you pass by at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning as they're heating up their ovens for the day. It was the people that you meet on the trail. Like, I mean, the potential for lasting friendships.
Yeah.
I think I have my Camino buddy perhaps watching from Jacksonville today. We shall see.
That's amazing.
It's just, it's that feeling of satisfaction each day. And like, you know, I would look at my pedometer at the end of the day and I'm like, holy cow, 26,000 steps, and you're recording it. And I don't know, it's just special. And the things that are special to you, they're going to be different for everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Martha, what was your favorite part of the Camino?
Well, she mentioned few of them. As a matter of fact, I love the roosters. But it was being there. And even when you want to shut the voice that is coming from within, you can know, say, shut up, because it start talking louder to you.
Yes.
And that was for me.
Yeah.
It was like, it's not conversations with God, it's conversation with yourself, and you cannot hide anything.
Yeah.
And that was fabulous. Like, honestly, it's scary.
Yeah.
But a journey that you know, it will rediscover yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just one step at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. So far, we have no questions. So for everybody that's on with us, and there's been many, many of you today, I really appreciate it. You can use that QR code on your phone to get to the web page, which has all of the details on it. And there's the link as well. My email is there as well. And if you have any questions, Wendy and I both are monitoring my emails, so that will reach both of us. And we would absolutely love to have you join us. It's going to be a really magical experience that I am really looking forward to. And thank you to all of you for taking an hour or so out of your Sunday afternoon. Martha, thank you for joining us the day after your birthday party. Wendy, thank you for being there with us. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I know I'm really excited about this trip, and I look forward to having all of you join us. So thank you very much, everyone.
And Frances, if I may finish with all the clients in there, feel free to ask any question. Like, probably usually, you know, we close down. Oh, I should have asked this. No question is a bad question. Anything that we need to explain it to you in order for you to feel better about, we will give you the answer. So really, we're here for you, and you have an expert that went last year. You have somebody that have a great experience and have been in this business for a long time, and you're dealing with a great two companies like Stewart Travel and Gateways International. We're Canadian companies.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.